O give thanks unto the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the people. Remember his marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders. A history of the wondrous works of God in and for Calvary Heights Baptist Church. This church was founded by a man named Charles Perkins. Charlie Perkins was the first pastor of this church. Came here in 1972. And he began Bible studies. He established relationships with people. He won souls to the Lord Jesus Christ. And services began meeting at the South Wales Community Center building on Route 16. And the church started services there. And the church officially incorporated on Sunday, January 7th, 1973, with 17 charter members. From the South Wales Community Center on Route 16, the church met at the Masonic Temple in East Aurora. Under Pastor Perkins' leadership, this property was purchased in 1974. Now, if you want to see the initial groundbreaking, and you want to see in the background of these pictures how desolate this property was in 1974. You have to remember that just a few years before, and I don't know the exact year, Route 400 was built. And Route 400 split, the big yellow house on the other side of the highway here. A man in that house, he and his wife owned all this property. Route 400 split his property, and he sold off what was on this side, 6.14 acres, to the church in 1974. The guy across the street, he helped Charlie. At the same time, the Western Electric plant, where Steuben Foods is now, was being built. And this guy across the street got a dump truck and hauled in truckload after truckload after truckload of shale that's underneath the parking lot, because this was all swamp land. They had to borrow money to buy the property, and then more money was raised and borrowed, mostly borrowed. And the church building was built 1975 to 1976. Pastor Perkins resigned to go into evangelism in 1976 after the building was built and a sizable debt was incurred. Kenneth Plunk was the second pastor. He came in the fall of 1976 after Charlie left, and he left in the spring of 1977 after Buffalo's infamous blizzard of January 1977. Mrs. Plunk was from the South, and I guess she didn't like Buffalo winters. From the spring of 1977 to February 1978, the church struggled to stay afloat without a pastor. And by God's grace and wondrous works, the church survived. February 26, 1978, George Johnson was called by the church to be its third pastor. Pastor Johnson planned a special day called Friend Day, in which the members were encouraged to invite their friends to church for December 10th, 1978. Driving to church that Sunday morning, full of anticipation and expectation for the day, George Johnson died at the wheel of his car from a massive heart attack. It would take the wondrous works of God to keep the small, greatly discouraged congregation together. March 4th, 1979, I was called to be the fourth pastor of Calvary Heights Baptist Church. At that members' meeting, there were 18 voting members, the church in its entirety at that time. Through 34 years of ministry, God has done great and wondrous things in this ministry, spiritually, financially, really in every area and in every way. And then through the years, because of growth and in preparation for further growth, from October 1997 to October 1998, the addition was built and upgrades on the original portion of the building were made, and the elevator was installed in the new addition. Cash was paid for the entire project that amounted to a little over $250,000.
Now in 2015, it was a year of transition here. It was a year of getting used to an additional staff member. And it was a year really dedicated as well to receiving a missionary family and calling them our own for the first time. And so it was a busy year with a lot of different things. And when 2016 came around, it was obvious to us and to many of you that the facilities were getting tighter. And with getting through a transitional year, my mind, my prayers were set more on the facilities. And for many months, I asked God for direction. Such was the case on May 2nd, 2016. That day, God did speak to me in Haggai chapter 1. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain and bring wood, and build the house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith the Lord. On that unforgettable morning, I am certain as I am about my salvation that God spoke to me personally. But He said, build the house, I will take pleasure in it. And what got my attention was when He said, and I will be glorified. It was the glory of God that interested me most. When I read verse 8 of Haggai 1, I thought to myself, how in the world could we ever do that? Well, I kept reading, and in chapter 2, verse 8, God opened my ear and whispered, the silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts, and in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Haggai 1:8, I was certain, without question, that God spoke to me to proceed. And I believe Haggai 2:8, God was equally as audible in my ears when He addressed my initial concern about costs.